Welcome to another episode of Rallotech Sports Health and Fitness Podcast. Today is May 23rd, 2024, episode 8, and I want to talk about how I kind of overcome certain habits. And I want to ask this question to start off with. How do you learn to handle your habits of quick to anger, or somebody has a way to push your button, or create the darker side of you, in other words, like bring out the darker side of you. So I was listening to Christian rapper, he called Current the Light, I think he's called, and one of his songs is called Thunder. And one of the lines says, emotion mixed with manipulation creates chemistry, right? And think about it this way. Some of our bad habits, we learn to, dwell on them or let it control our behaviors, and we create bad habits from those. But always remember, just keep in mind that God never made a mistake when He made you. You're uniquely made as an individual, and there is no person on this planet that is like you. Just always bear that in mind, and no matter how people come to challenge you or upset your peace of mind, just keep in mind that there's always gonna be snake in the grass that's gonna try to bite you, and you have to know and look for those snakes. And to be honest with you, maybe it's just my upbringing, but one of my older sister that taught me a lot. She taught me how to spot snakes and spot people that just wanna, upset your peace. Put it that way. And when you can spot those out in a crowd, nobody can get at you without your knowledge, because at the end of the day, you know for a fact that you're trying to protect your peace, trying not to go off the deep end, try not to lose, your livelihood, because some people will definitely get in your way for you to, say something that obviously you didn't mean, but because you go by, replying by anger, you choose to respond in a certain way. And I will say this: always never quick to anger. Try to think about consequences before you reply to certain people. And I have learned two things. Me and my wife had this discussion last night, and to be honest with you, it was hard for me to put out a podcast knowing that she would still be in the hospital, and I was happy that finally last night she got discharged. So thanks be to God. With all of these little blessings that we're getting, it's only God's work while we're here. It's God's plan, and nothing goes before His plan. So one of the things she talked about was self-control. Like, think about having good self-control or good self-discipline. It goes hand in hand, because I got to shout out Christine for this one, because to be honest with you, it's been a rocky road over the last little bit. Excuse me there. And it's sometimes the lack of self-control why we resort to anger. So here's a couple pointers I have. What is self-control? Right? And another thing you should look at is what is having good self-control can contribute to. What is good self-control in your fitness routine? What is good self-control in your finances? Knowing when not to spend on something and don't buy something outside of your reach, so you're literally borrowing from your future to pay for something in your past. Another thing is what is having good self-control or self-discipline when it comes to your health and improving your health. And if you want to take it to a sports standpoint, what is good habits you can create to have better, say, I'm not just gonna pinpoint just soccer, but or basketball, but any sports that you're in. What is having good self-discipline and good workout routines to work on your soccer skills, basketball skills, baseball skills, whatever those skill sets that you're working on, even golf or hockey, whatever those skill sets that you're working on, it takes good self-discipline for you to get to, even semi-professional, or if you want to go all the way to professional in whatever sports you're playing. And think about it this way: one tiny step of just having, you know what, I'm gonna stop eating certain things, or stop going to the club when I know that I have a game, or going to the bar when I know that I have a game like 8 o'clock in the morning, which I've witnessed that playing a tournament before, where the guy literally showed up like he's still drinking from 3 a.m. this morning, and he's still smelling like booze. But that would put me to the lack of self-control, because you start creating poor behaviors in your fitness routine, poor behaviors in your finance, poor behavior in what you're when you look in the mirror, what your body look like. That self-control would be like, okay, this tub of ice cream, or this two big coffee cup of ice cream, won't help me to get in better shape. So when you look in the mirror, you feel disgust of how you look, because you're not making proper choices, having those bad self-control. And one of the things my wife said to me is like, if you want to get better at things, and as I said, I have to shout out Christine on this one, is having good self-discipline. You know what? How are you going to self-govern you eating certain things? And one of the ways you can do that is having certain hours that you're going to either, if you're eating sweets, it has to cut off at say 8 or 8:30, so that you have enough time for your body to work it off. Or you're going to have to stay up late and work it off, so that your body actually can digest whatever food you ate 4 hours ago, so you can get a proper sleep, and your body is not trying to break down food while you're trying to sleep. I used to wonder why I have like weird dreams when I eat late. And I think I talked to like a friend of mine that's big into fitness, and he said that because you ate late, because you didn't give your body enough time to digest your food, it's almost like it's keeping you up even though you're sleeping. So you're not getting into that REM sleep that most people need. And I kid you not, I'm guilty of this myself, where last night I was so hungry, and what I should have done is have like a toast and some tea and then head to bed. But I skipped supper because little announcement here, my wife called me about 1 o'clock yesterday, and she said, hey, flu season is lifted, so the kids can come in and meet their brother. For the last 5 weeks they've been itching to meet their brother, and they were able, pardon me again, to come to the NICU and meet their brother. And it was like a joy just to see the look on their face, like, wow, look how big he's grown, because they've seen him over video calls but not in person. And all 4 kids, one after one, was able to come in, obviously clean their hands and sanitize and put on a gown so they can hold their younger sibling. And I can tell you that you can see the joy on each and every kid's face when they saw their brother for the first time, because it was the first time in 5 weeks they're able to see their sibling. And the joy on their face, the expression alone cannot even give you context. Like I was saying, the joy on their face was next to none, because they were able to see their siblings for the first time in 5 weeks. And I have to give the Rocky View General Hospital and the NICU especially for taking care of my son, because I can tell you this, I have lost sleep over the last 4.5 weeks because I keep staying up worrying about the what ifs. And I can tell you that the what ifs you cannot control, because they're hypothetical. And I let go of the what ifs, and I start living like, you know what, you got to take this thing one day at a time. He's getting the best care he can get at this moment. So why are you worried about scenarios that hasn't happened and probably won't happen, but it's still a what if, right? It's a hypothetical that you're wondering, oh, will this happen, will that happen? And I say this without any hesitation, he has received the best care he can get for the last couple of weeks. So that's a good segue to move into my next topic here. How has it been having a child in the NICU for the first time, and not knowing, what to do in the scenario. Like, I've talked to people that had that experience, but I can tell you this: after having four other kids, it's five different experience, and all I can do is just be the support for my wife that she needs in this time, and just fast and pray and have faith that we should and we will get past this. And by the mercy of God, we are continuing to pray, have faith that we will get past this. So, needless to say, how has it been for me? It has been a rocky road. And to be honest with you, if it's not for the support of great friends and great people from the church, from my community in Innisfail, that has been like champions behind helping us out while we're in need and don't know what to do, it has just been a blessing. And for any viewers out there that that's you don't believe in God, or you believe in higher power, or whatever the scenario may be, from my experience, and I can only speak from my experience, God has our back. And whether you believe in God or not, from my personal experience, if it wasn't for the grace of God, I could have been like a mental patient right now. But I know that having faith in God, I know that you have people that are praying for you constantly, is nothing but a blessing. So whatever my audience believe, whatever is your standpoint on spiritualism, or if there's a God or not, I'm not even going to get into that topic. My personal experience and my personal faith has drawn me closer each day I've been here, because I don't need to go see a psychologist. I don't need to take any antidepressant medication or anything like that. What I start doing is I start exercising. I start going for walks. Whenever certain thoughts creep in the back of my mind, I will, let my wife know I'm going to go for a walk. When I have the kids here on the weekend, it is difficult because many of you might not know. And again, another shout out to the Ronald McDonald House. I have my kids here on the weekend when they don't have school, and they're spending Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then by the end of the week, they go back and spend time with my mother-in-law. And I am so grateful to have people like those in my life, that I can have the support and not be stressed out, because even in the last week, it has been difficult. And it's only the grace of God why I can spend this quality time with my wife and, be around my family at this time, because nothing else matters. You can have $1 million and you could not change the outcome of what's going on right now. You could have $100 million and you cannot change the outcome of what's going on right now. So all we've been doing is taking it one day at a time. And there's a song out there for that. I think it's called One Day at a Time, Sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking of you. So I'll say this: if it wasn't for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here today and be able to send this message to my audience that need to hear it. God is real, and lean up on him whenever you feel despair, because nothing else in this world matters but having good faith and having somebody to even talk to about your faith. Some days it's a big help. And if you don't believe in God, that's fine, but nothing else shows you in nature that God is real. Nothing else in this life can show you that God is real than what is happening to me right now. So whether you believe or not, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that there's a God, and he has been blessing us for the last 5 weeks going on 6. So take what you want to take from it, but that's my testimony. The next thing I want to talk about is, having my kids understand what we're facing right now, what we're going through, and show them how strong we're going to be in this moment, because you don't want your kids to look at you as, when things were hard and when things were difficult and you're going through your trials or you're going through your storm, mom and dad just gave up and they weren't able to cope or deal with it. We take it with a smile and still make sure that when they come down and they're only visiting us for and spending time with us for the 2 days out of the weekend, and then they're back by grandma's house to go to school, because that's just the routine of things. But I said on my last podcast that sometimes things comes in threes, and from recording the last podcast, my son ended up breaking his arm. That was the second strike. So strike one, what happened with having our child in the hospital. It's been difficult, but we're dealing with it, taking it stuff day by day. Two, my son had a minor fracture and broke his arm. The next day after we dropped him off to go to school, he broke his arm playing soccer. And now three, my wife got admitted again into the hospital for, pain that she was feeling. And as I said, if it wasn't for the grace of God, we wouldn't be here talking to you today. So all the praise go to God himself, because it's only the grace of God is getting us through, and all the people that have been praying for us and praying for us to come home safely. So I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart to have us in your prayer each and every day. The next thing I remember having was just different conversation with people at the Ronald McDonald House over the last couple weeks, and just being a person that's willing to talk to a stranger. And funny enough, I met this family. They're Hutterites. They're from the Hutterites colony in Lethbridge, and I seriously appreciate meeting people this way, because it's not that I'm going up preaching to them. I just say hello, smile, and say, how's it going? How are you doing? How did you end up at the Ronald McDonald House? Just small talk. And over the last couple weeks, I can tell you that I made some long lasting friends at that Ronald McDonald House, to the point where I'm making supper, and the guy come over to me and he's like, "What are you making?" So I told him, I'm just making butter chicken and some rice that my friend actually brought to one of her friends that dropped off food, and cooking some vegetables with it and serving it up to the kids. And he's like, "Well, do you want some homemade sausage from my farm?" And I'm like, "Yes, please. Thank you very much." And he gave me a pack of beef sausage that he made, and also some pork sausage. And I'm like, imagine. That's why I'm saying kindness goes a long way. Imagine, I met these people at the same hospital that my son was born. We end up being at the Ronald McDonald House. And needless to say, those same family are now, to me, this is just to me, they're long lasting friends. Because I took his number, gave him my number, and making a plan to take my kids, visit the colony, and let my kids see how, the colony operates, because I don't think they have been to a colony yet in Canada. And it just goes to show, like, just making those little connection can change the outcome of a conversation we'll have with somebody. Because I the only thing I can say, having a purpose, or having like I would say the bravery to walk up to somebody and be like, "How's it going? How's your wife doing? I saw that you were missing for a couple days. Did you go, because you're farmers?" So I was like, "Did you do seeding? Did you get some seeding done?" And for sure, just having those small conversation went a long way. And it became, I did seeding, and I did seeding just before the rain, because it's been raining like crazy in Calgary. But it goes without saying, just taking a minute, having conversation with somebody, it takes it to another dimension, I would say, where obviously we're in one dimension, we live on planet Earth, but it's more on the, we we're a colony that makes our own meat. We supply a lot of, like, this is what the guy was saying to me, we're a colony that makes our own meat. supply a lot of the grocery store in Calgary, and we are able to make a sustainable living by doing that. And one of my homeboy Darren was visiting us that day, and I said to him, "Don't worry, we're gonna make a drive down there. Here's my number, cause when it comes on to butchering and stuff like that, whoever knows me on a personal level, when they come to our previous residence where I would butcher like 2 or 3 pigs if it's on a good Saturday weekend, and you can smell the fresh meat cooking coming down the road to our house. You can see the smoke coming down the road to our house, and you can smell like fresh cooked bacon being made on the fire pit where we just butchered the pig. And we're old school when we butcher the pig, so it's like, yeah, we're scraping, gutting, and all of those. They don't have to be too graphic, but that's how we do it, old school. And I've been doing this butchering stuff since I was 6. So when I met the Hudderite family and he's telling me all of this, I'm like, say less, because I've made sausage since I've been here. And when he had me that pack of the beef sausage that he made and vacuum seal, I want to see how that operation is done, because I'm always eager to learn. I always have that almost that knack to be like, how can I make this better? How can I make this how can I perfect this so it's more, you know, you pull it out the package and cook it on the stove or on the grill. Like, that's the level of, making my own food at home is gonna become, because I want to learn from people in Canada how they do it. Because back then we'd butcher the animal, cut it up in pieces that it can be cooked, but we didn't have the proper machinery to do it. But now I'm learning on a different level of how you can vacuum seal stuff, let it not get freezer burn, and have it ready to go on the grill. And that's the next chapter in teaching my kids how to make their own food, so they don't think that food was made in the grocery store and just magically appear on the shelf. So I don't know how else to say that, at the end of the day, you have to leave a legacy for your kids that, when you're gone, your memory and all the things that you've done with them, not toys that you bought them, or shoes or fancy clothes, they'll remember the time that you spent with them. And that's worth every penny in this world, and then some. Nobody can pay me enough money to give up that time for those kids, because speaking from a personal experience, I have sewed and I have put time into these kids and listen. Sometimes it takes 5 hours to listen to them showing me a trick over and over again, and that's within the last couple weeks when I have them on the weekend and we're going somewhere that we'd never been before. And it's sometimes a back and forth, but it's something that they'll carry on forever. I promise you, anybody out there that lives a family first life, just keep in mind that when you spend those extra time with your kids and let them know that, you know what, daddy will or mommy will make time for you, it goes a long way. And just do it for yourself. And if you want to provide feedback after this podcast, please feel free to reach out or send an email or send me a voice note. I've left my phone number on the podcast before, so reach out and let me know if you doing that little one-on-one time with your kids, how that has worked in your favor or in your family's favor or in the behavior of your kids. So I would love to hear your feedback on this. And as I said, like, I don't have I said this in the past, I don't have all the answers, but I try to do something different for my kids that, not a lot of fathers in my demographic does that for their kids. But I know a lot of fathers that are their family first fathers, and everything that they do is for the betterment of the family and for the betterment of their kids. because at the end of the day, you have to live a family first life. There's no money in the world that can replace that. No money in the world, no riches, no treasures, nothing at all. So I'm gonna close with this. I have been, I think the right terminology would be proposition with living in infidelity, and goes back to my previous point about self-control. I've worked at my, I won't call any names, but I've worked at rodeos or a rodeo event, which would be a cabaret, where I had females walking up to me, and this is a true story. Take it however you want to take it. And they asked me, they're like, "Hey, you remind me of somebody that I know," and I'm like, "Yeah, we've never met." And the question keeps coming because the person is intoxicated and tried to make conversation. And part of that conversation was like, and this person was fully intoxicated at this point, "I just need 3 kids. Nothing else. You don't have to be in the picture. Just need 3 kids." And knowing me, like what I just said, I don't live outside of my family. I live a family first life. And I turned to the individual because she knew our best friend with somebody that I work with. And I said to her, I'm like, "I have a full family at home, and it would be disrespectful to do that to them." So having that self-control and self-governance, it wasn't hard. It was not even batting an eye to turn her down. And yes, she might feel sad, and she might feel as if, I don't think of her as an attractive woman. But to be honest with you, I don't. And I would never jeopardize what I have with my family, being a man that live a family first life and a God-fearing man, to let something that this was part of the proposition. "I can fly you anywhere in the world you want to go. Great. I will spend my own money and do that. Thank you very much." But at the end of the day, I look back on stuff like this, and I was like, you have to be grounded and so focus on what you want to accomplish in this life, and have those self-governance and those self-control that you be willing to turn to somebody that is, trying to get your attention with shiny objects, and say, "No, I am good. I might not be rich. I might not, be able to fly anywhere in the world that I would like to go, but I am good. And I'd rather stay at my home and live a family first life and a God-fearing family man before I step out in my marriage and go do something like that." So to close, I have passed upon a lot of, and in my career, I have people hitting on me in the sense where, it felt strange as an adult, but as a youth, you would look upon it like, "Oh my gosh," and jump at the opportunity. But once a man, I think the saying goes, twice a child. And for the betterment of my soul and my mind, I have to look past those stuff. I have to look past the shiny objects in the mirror, or things that people floss with, meaning that they're trying to show off and show how much money I have and how I can, make you some facade of yourself. Because living a double life, to me, is just living a facade. And I choose not to go down that road. And it's not that I am better than any other person out there, but I choose to live a certain lifestyle. I choose to go down certain roads that will lead me to my success. And if that means that I might have to be broke before I get there, so be it. When a farmer plants his seed, it doesn't sprung up out the ground right away. It takes sowing the seed. It takes a process to grow. And at the end of the day, after growing those seeds for a period of time, you get to reap the reward. So I rather wait and enjoy the process while I'm going through the process than trying to have the chicken before the chicken even laying the eggs. So, needless to say, moving forwards, if you or anybody you know needs any support when it comes on to stuff like that, I have first hand experience when it comes on to living a first hand lifestyle that benefits my wife and my kids and not in the interim damage the future I'd like to have for them. I don't have everything laid out yet, but my best experience is going through life and learning from my past. And to close, please remember this: your past does not define the person you're meant to be. Rollo out.